Hello everyone, welcome to our security update where we frequently address the latest security issues in Africa. Here are the notable stories making the headlines this week. Somalia forces recapture strategic Al-Shabaab stronghold in central region. US denies involvement in Somalia army drone strike resulting in civilian casualties. Niger military government accuses France of deploying troops for potential attack. Welcome to the program. The federal government of Somalia confirmed that the National Army Forces regained full control of the Al-Shabaab stronghold El-Karas in the central state of Galgaduud as the government intensified its operations against Al-Shabaab. The federal government of Somalia confirmed that the National Army Forces regained full control of the Al-Shabaab stronghold El-Karas in the central state of Galgaduud as the government intensified its operations against Al-Shabaab. The Ministry of Information noted that the removal of Al-Shabaab from El-Karas town is significant to the ongoing offensive operation against the group in the area, and the army is currently conducting a clearance operation in the town. However, the government said Mohammed Mahmoud Ahmad, a member of the Galmudug Parliament, and Abdullah Ibrahim Sha'ir, a member of Dosamareb Local Council, were killed and others wounded in a landmine blast in the area during the operation to liberate the area. Al-Shabaab claimed responsibility for the latest attack but did not comment on the fall of the strategic location into government control. The recapture of Al-Garas town came a day after a deadly attack at a military base in Audigle town in southern Somalia, where the Somali National Army said it killed more than 20 Al-Shabaab militants. The president of Galmudug State in Somalia, Ahmed Kariya Qorqor, has emphasized the imperative for residents to actively engage in military operations against the Al-Shabaab group throughout the nation. These remarks were made shortly after the liberation of El-Garas, a strategically vital Al-Shabaab stronghold located in Galgaduud. The president of Galmudug State in Somalia, Ahmed Kariya Qorqor, has emphasized the imperative for residents to actively engage in military operations against the Al-Shabaab group throughout the nation. These remarks were made shortly after the liberation of El-Garas, a strategically vital Al-Shabaab stronghold located in Galgaduud. President Qorqor visited the scene to assess the situation, underscoring the unwavering commitment to continue these operations until the complete eradication of Al-Shabaab group from their occupied territories. The regional president stressed the critical need for unity between local communities and the government as the sole means to overcome Al-Shabaab, thereby preventing them from securing sanctuaries for orchestrating future attacks on civilians. El-Garas, a small town situated along the route connecting Dosamareb and El Pur, had remained under Al-Shabaab's control for an extended period. Government officials regard the recapture of El-Garas by government and local forces as a significant milestone in reclaiming control over the El Pur district. Somali Defense Forces have claimed to have killed more than 20 Al-Shabaab members and wounded others in heavy fighting between the army and Al-Shabaab at a military base in Audigle district in southern Somalia. Somali Defense Forces have claimed to have killed more than 20 Al-Shabaab members and wounded others in heavy fighting between the army and Al-Shabaab at a military base in Audigle district in southern Somalia. The Ministry of Information revealed that the troops responded swiftly and foiled the attack by Al-Shabaab fighters at the military base, and the army recovered weapons from the group. The government did not confirm if there were casualties on the Somalia National Army side during the fierce fighting. However, Al-Shabaab claimed responsibility for the latest attack, saying its fighters killed 59 soldiers, including commanders, and ran over the base, although the government denied the allegations. The attacks continue across Somalia despite the security forces backed by allied forces having stepped up operations against the militants in the country, as the high-ranking officials of the government encouraged the public to participate in the ongoing operations against Al-Shabaab. Ali Jaita Osman, the former governor of Hiran region, has been entrusted with the crucial role of overseeing counter-terrorism efforts in the Hiran and select areas of Galmudug regions. This appointment comes on the heels of a series of extensive consultations with President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud. Ali Jaita Osman, the former governor of the Hiran region, has been entrusted with the crucial role of overseeing counter-terrorism efforts in the Hiran and select areas of the Galmudug regions. This appointment comes on the heels of a series of extensive consultations with President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, federal members of parliament, and esteemed traditional elders. This decision solidifies Ali Jaita's mandate to spearhead anti-terrorism operations with direct support from the federal government, thereby fostering coordination and effectiveness in the ongoing battle against the Al-Shabaab group. While the discussion is encompassing broader subjects, including the future of the Hiran state and local concerns vis-a-vis the federal government, it was agreed that these matters will be subject to more comprehensive deliberation at undisclosed future junction. The self-declared president of the Hiran state issued a rallying call to the broader Somali public, urging unity in confronting Al-Shabaab and reclaiming their territories from the group's influence. He implored citizens to extend their unwavering support to the dedicated security agencies in this critical endeavor. The junta in Niger have faulted France for deploying weapons and troops in some West African countries ahead of a possible military intervention in the country. But we will be back after the short break.
Making documentaries is one of the most creative, craft and challenging endeavors you can be involved in. It is an effective strategy to inform, persuade, educate, defend the perspective and shed light on various issues, policies and activities. At CBA TV, documentary production is our forte. We capture every TikTok detail of events in highest resolution to tell the story you care about, from politics to human angle, research-based content, educative and informative. We also help you project your story in a dynamic perspective that attracts the world views of the target audience, as there is no better or more powerful way to place the organization's values and achievements than to make an excellent documentary film. No doubt, our strength lies in these ventures, and we pride in many award-winning documentaries which have been earning accolades across Africa and beyond. Let's tell your story.
The junta in Niger have faulted France for deploying weapons and troops in some West African countries ahead of possible military intervention in the country in collaboration with ECOWAS. The military government condemned the move and called for the immediate departure of the French forces stationed in the country.
Niger coup leaders have accused France of deploying troops in various West African nations in preparation for a potential military intervention in Niger, alongside the regional body ECOWAS. The junta also reiterated its call for French troops to leave its country in a communique read on state television. This has been a key source of face-off between the former allies since the July 26 ousting of President Mohamed Bazoum. The statement appealed to national and international opinion to witness the consequences of this aggressive, underhanded and contemptuous attitude adopted by France. Niger's military administration further condemned France for being insincere after it said it had taken no tangible moves to withdraw troops as promised in early September. Since September 1, when the commander of French forces in the Sahel announced a plan to remove troops from Niger, no progress has been made in the implementation of the plan, according to a statement aired on national television by government spokesperson Colonel Amadou Abdourahmane. Thousands of Nigerians have been protesting repeatedly in the capital, Niamey, against the presence of French troops. The military leaders appealed Saturday to the population to remain vigilant and never to demobilize until the inevitable departure of French troops from our territory. Niger houses 1,500 French troops as part of a regional counter-insurgency operation. The country was thrown into chaos on July 26 when General Abdourahmane Tiani, a former commander of the Presidential Guard, spearheaded a military operation that removed Mohamed Bazoum. Kamil Sadiq, CBA TV.
Prime Minister Hamse of Somalia convened a meeting with Somalian National Army officers currently engaging in military training within the confines of Doha, Qatar. This encounter is a testament of the federal government's heightened commitment to combat the Al-Shabaab group. Prime Minister Hamse of Somalia convened a meeting with the Somali National Army officers currently engaged in military training within the confines of Doha, Qatar. This encounter is a testament to the federal government's heightened commitment to combat the Al-Shabaab group. During the meeting, Prime Minister Hamse articulated the fervent aspirations of the Somali populace, entrusting these officers with the task of spearheading liberationist efforts against Al-Shabaab. The government firmly alleges that Al-Shabaab has inflicted significant harm on the lives and property of the Somali people. He also conveyed his gratitude to the government of Qatar for its unwavering support to both the Somali government and its citizens. This support notably extends to the production of high-caliber Somali National Army officers, a vital component in Somalia's ongoing security endeavors, as reported by the federal government of Somalia. Moreover, it is worth noting that the federal government has recently disclosed its intention to mount substantial operations against Al-Shabaab in the central and southern regions of the country. These efforts align closely with President Hassan Sheikh's resolute stance on counterterrorism. In recent incident in central Somalia, drone strike reportedly claimed the lives of 7 civilians, including 5 children and a grandmother, as Al-Shabaab members purportedly sought shelter within a residential compound, as reported by local elders. But the U.S. denies involvement in Somalia army drone strike, resulting in civilian casualties. In a recent incident in central Somalia, a drone strike reportedly claimed the lives of 7 civilians, including 5 children and a grandmother, as Al-Shabaab members purportedly sought shelter within a residential compound, as reported by local elders. The Ministry of Information of Somalia has officially confirmed the elimination of senior Al-Shabaab figures in a cooperative security operation conducted in the Galgaduud region's West El Helay area. However, the government has not disclosed the identity of the international partner that provided support for this operation. In response to these developments, the United States Military Command in Africa has issued a statement affirming that the Somali National Forces led a counter-terrorism mission in close proximity to El Helay. This operation resulted in the demise of 3 Al-Shabaab leaders. AFRICOM clarified that U.S. forces were not physically present during the operation and did not engage in any airstrikes either during or in support of the mission. Meanwhile, the federal government of Somalia has accused Al-Shabaab of causing civilian casualties through the use of an improvised explosive device, an allegation that the group has yet to respond to. The United Nations Children's Fund has voiced deep apprehension regarding the rising number of child fatalities and severe injuries resulting from landmine detonations in Somalia. Since June, these tragic incidents have claimed a minimum of 30 young lives. The United Nations Children's Fund has voiced deep apprehension regarding the rising number of child fatalities and severe injuries resulting from landmine detonations in Somalia. Since June, these tragic incidents have claimed a minimum of 30 young lives. Reports indicate that numerous children have fallen victim to 3 distinct occurrences involving the inadvertent activation of unexploded ordnance in recent days. UNICEF has issued a resounding call to all parties embroiled in the conflict within Somalia. They urge them to diligently conduct periodic risk assessment, assume responsibility for the safe handling of explosive remnants of war, and undertake the clearance of existing mines and unexploded devices. UNICEF officials underscored the urgent need for widespread explosive ordnance risk education targeted at children and communities. They pledge UNICEF's steadfast commitment to collaborating closely with the government and humanitarian organizations to mitigate the perils posed by landmines and explosive remnants of war to children. According to the United Nations, the year 2022 witnessed a distressing toll, with over 1,200 Somali civilians, including death or injury due to explosive ordnance, encompassing explosive remnants of war, landmines, and improvised explosive devices. And with that, story of the United Nations Children's Fund voiced deep apprehension regarding the rising number of child fatalities and severe injuries resulting from landmine detonation in Somalia. We'll wrap up our program for this time. Thank you for watching the program.